welcome to Thai PBS English News Service. I'm Rungtip Chonapalai. Criticism have been widespread among policymakers and scholars over the appropriateness of the government's emergency decrees, namely the 350 billion baht loan for water management project and the management of the 1.14 trillion baht Financial Institution Development Fund, or FIDF debt. Earlier this afternoon, the Constitution Court ruled that the two executive decrees do not violate the Constitution. Following the government's financial decrees covering 350 billion baht of loans related to water management and transfer of the 1.14 trillion baht Financial Institution Development Fund, or FIDF debt, to the BOT, the Constitution Court has ruled that the two financial decrees issued by the Cabinet do not violate the Constitution. The financial decree gives the government authority for 350 billion baht in loans in order to support water management projects and flood rehabilitation plans. However, the most critical issue lies on the decree that allows the Financial Ministry to transfer responsibility for the 1.14 trillion baht debt resulting from the 1997 economic crisis from the FIDF to the BOT. Earlier, Democrat Party MPs led by former Finance Minister Gonjati Kavanit and 69 senators led by Kamnun Sithisaman asked the Constitution Court to rule whether the two executive decrees were constitutional. Furthermore, they raised questions over the appropriateness of the two decrees, which can only be issued in case of emergencies and, as no emergency exists, that might contravene Section 184 of the Constitution. As for the 350 billion baht decree, the court unanimously ruled that it is in line with the prerequisite mentioned in Section 184 of the Constitution because the government is urgently in need of finding financial sources to hasten projects to prevent flooding, as well as providing long-term infrastructure and financial security. As for the 1.14 trillion baht FIDF debt transfer, the court voted 7-2 to confirm the constitutionality of this decree. The Constitution Court said that there was no evidence showing any dishonesty or intention to violate the Constitution by the Cabinet. As the Ministry of Finance prepares to launch a plan to release government bonds to mobilize loans for the Flood Prevention Fund, the former Finance Minister is asking the government to publicize the water management budget for transparency, while government ministers are now urging the opposition to stop using the decrees as part of a political game. After the announcement of the Constitution Court's ruling, Democrat Party's Deputy Leader Gonjati Kavanit said that he respects the court's decision, although the two executive decrees may cause difficulties in terms of budget speculation. Gon stressed that the Democrat Party will continue to further investigate the government spending. Meanwhile, Aripong Puchaum, Permanent Secretary of Ministry of Finance, is preparing to launch a plan to release government bonds to mobilize loans for the Flood Protection and Rehabilitation Fund. Aripong said that this will be processed on the basis of priorities and will strictly follow the rules and disciplines of public finance. Payung Sakcha Sudipon, Chairman of Federation of Thai Industries, or FTI, said that he is pleased that the two executive decrees do not violate the Constitution, which now grants the government authority to go ahead with the infrastructure development and water management schemes as planned. Chairman of FTI has asked the government for over 4 billion baht to build dams and dikes to protect against flooding in industrial areas after the government saving bank failed to approve the loan. Once the ruling was known to be in favor of the government's position, the government is not required to resign, and Mr. Chalerm said the government views the loan decrees as an urgent matter for use in flood management. He urged the opposition Democrat Party to stop treating the decrees as a political game. Meanwhile, Associate Professor Sakon Waranyuwatana, Deputy Dean of Faculty of Economics, Thammasat University, told Thai PBS that although the government has the authority to seek financial sources according to the Constitution Court's ruling, more importantly is to manage and to prioritize projects with transparency. It is crucial that government seeks public opinion to make sure that the budget is wisely spent. The cabinet on Wednesday approved the 2013 fiscal budget with expenditure of 2.4 trillion baht. The 2013 budget exceeds the 2012 budget by 20 billion baht, but the budget deficit is down from 400 billion baht and to 300 billion baht according to the reports. The budget framework for next fiscal year was based on the theory that the government revenue would increase from 1.98 trillion baht in fiscal 2011 to 2.1 trillion baht this fiscal year. Acting government spokeswoman Thitima Chaisang said the cabinet also gave the green light for the implementation of 29 projects costing about 1.64 billion baht as proposed by provinces in the northeast. Of the 29 projects, 2 were proposed by Justice Minister Pracha Phomnok. There are the 30 million baht project for the establishment of Udon Thani University and 25 million baht project for the construction of the Northeast Cultural Center and the Udon Thani Sports Stadium. Most of the other projects approved concern water management, development of tourist attractions, improvement of medical and public health services, and expansion of the highway network. Additionally, Deputy Government Spokesman said that the Cabinet agreed to extend the exemption of diesel from excise tax for another month to March 31st. The excise tax exemption on diesel was to expire on February 29th. And he also said that the decision was aimed at reducing the burden of fuel costs on the people at a time of rising global oil prices. The Cabinet will consider whether to further extend the excise tax exemption on diesel before the end of March, the spokesman said. Thai police took Iranian suspect Mohammad Hasai to court today to request an extension for his detainment in the Bangkok remand prison. 42-year-old Hasai is suspected to be involved in the Bangkok blast on February 14, which Thai police believe was attempting to target Israeli diplomats in Bangkok. Police said he is now facing charges, including the illegal possession of explosive devices. According to Thai law, he cannot be detained for more than 84 days. 28-year-old Saeed Moradi faces the same charges. Moradi lost a leg when a bomb he was carrying went off after an earlier blast, apparently accidental, at a house he was renting on Sukhumvit Soy 71. His other leg also had to be amputated. Police are also looking for 4 other suspects in connection to the case. Thai police said they have found a link between last week's bombings in Bangkok and New Delhi, which were attacks Israel has already blamed on Iran. Tehran's second round of talks with a delegation from the International Atomic Energy Agency or IAEA have ended inconclusively. According to Iranian media reports, the talks cover cooperation and mutual understanding between Iran and the IAEA, and the Tehran will hold further talks with the body. The IAEA were not so positive. Here's more.
The United Nations Nuclear Agency on Wednesday acknowledged its renewed failure in trying to probe suspicions that Iran has been secretly working on atomic arms. However, as a 2-day IAEA visit came to a close, Iranian officials tried to cast it in a positive light, with Foreign Ministry spokesman Ramin Mehmanparast telling reporters on Tuesday that, quote, cooperation with the agency continues and is at its best level, end quote. But the language of the IAEA clearly, if indirectly, blamed Tehran for the lack of progress. A statement issued by the IAEA following the visit said that on both visits, Iran did not grant requests by the IAEA mission to visit Parchin, a military site thought to be used for explosives testing related to nuclear detonations, and cited IAEA chief Yukiya Amano as calling this decision disappointing. The abortive trip was just the latest sign of Iranian resolve to continue hard-line resistance in the face of international pressure to curb its nuclear activities, despite sanctions and US and Israeli warnings of possible last-resort military action should diplomacy fail.
Iran's nuclear program is one of the major reasons for the increase of crude oil prices, which may lead to inflation. Domestic food prices have also raised concern, causing complaints from consumers. Recently, and in reaction, the Ministry of Commerce has announced fixed prices of certain foods. Owing to customers' complaints, the Ministry of Commerce has asked for the cooperation from private companies as well as food courts and food stalls to sell food in line with the prices announced by the ministry. After the floods, food prices became a major concern since farm and agricultural areas have been badly affected. Furthermore, crude oil prices continue to rise, partly because of Iran's nuclear dispute. NYMEX crude settled over $103 per barrel, while Brent surged to nearly $120 per barrel. This causes domestic energy prices to rise. For example, benzene 91 is now around 42 baht per liter, while the diesel price is still being subsidized but costs around 32 baht per liter. The government has also instigated a price floor of natural gas for vehicles, or NGV. The Office of the National Economic and Social Development Board, or NESDB, has announced that headline inflation is forecast to be in the range of 3.5 to 4%, while unemployment is expected to remain low at 0.7%. Earlier, I spoke to Assistant Professor Suganda Leung-On-Lewis from the Faculty of Economics at Chulalongkorn University, who expressed concern about inflation and asked the government to tackle this issue. Here's more.
One thing is try to improve the competitiveness of our industry, how to help the agricultural sector of Thailand, and also to help with the energy policy. For example, you know that the oil price is very expensive. We cannot subsidize the oil price forever. We don't have enough money. So we should think about the way to reduce our consumption of energy and how to build the alternative energies ways.
And apart from the energy, what else should be done in terms of education or anything else?
Yes, I think our workers need to have more skill, so we have to support our education, develop our education since the low level, okay? And it's not about like computers, a notebook, or that kind of thing. It's not. It's about the people. It's about the teacher. Okay, so how we help our teacher to be able to teach our students to be able to think, okay, to think and analyze. I think this is more important.
Now we go on to the United States. Once infamous for suffering the devastation of Hurricane Katrina, the biggest party of the year is underway in New Orleans in the southern USA, known by some as Fat Tuesday. Most of us know it is as Mardi Gras. Thousands of people pour into the streets wearing colorful costumes, masks, and strings of beads to watch the flamboyant floats parade by the most and get drawn into the revelry. Even schools and businesses are closed for the celebration. It's not just a local holiday either. People from all over the world fly to New Orleans to enjoy Mardi Gras. We can't even drink in the streets in Canada, said one tourist. This is a whole other level. Mardi Gras comes the day before Ash Wednesday, the beginning of Lent on the Catholic calendar. By tradition, it is a day that invites unbridled, some might say excessive behavior in preparation for the somber season of sacrifice to follow, though to be honest, the somber mood that follows is usually due to the hangover. Well, enjoy the Mardi Gras. Here's at ThaiPBS Now, we are conducting a survey to gather the audience views on our English news service. You can share your opinion by log on to our website www.thaipbs.or.th/Eng.News survey. And that wraps up tonight's edition of ThaiPBS English News Service. I'm Rungtip Chonapawai. Thank you for watching. สวัสดีค่ะ